subhanAllah, the Prophet one day went home and he came, his servant, his Anas, and he was crying. He was crying. And the Prophet ﷺ said, why are you crying? He said, oh Prophet, you know, my space and our space is far away, and you will be far up, and we love you in the sake of, we love you. And I want to be with you. Sayyidina Anas is talking to the Prophet ﷺ. We love the Prophet, and he want to be with him. And the Prophet told him this glad tidings. What did he tell him? Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. If you love someone, you will be with him. And really, when you hear this, everyone will tell me now, I love the Prophet. Does anyone dispute that? No. All of us love the Prophet. But the question to every one of you, do you know the Prophet? To me even, do I know the Prophet? To every one of us. And if you know someone, I'll tell you an example again, another story. If you love your wife, and you're going home now, what are you going to do? Some flowers, chocolate, right? You love her. You do that, right? Hopefully. Okay? You love her, inshallah, you give her that, inshallah. Now, if you love the Prophet, what are you going to bring him? You know what his attitudes? What did he say? What does he say after prayer? How long did he live? What's your mother's name? Mother's, his wife's. Do you know them? Do you know anything about what he's doing with them? That's the way that when we meet him, you know him, right? Do you know him? The question to every one of us, and I swear I do that in the Islamic school. I teach there. I tell them, talk about the Prophet for 2 minutes. I'll give you $20. Alhamdulillah, the $20 is in my pocket most of the time. It doesn't go anywhere. Which really surprising that even I said it in a khutbah once, and I told the story that someone came to me and he said, I have it here in the phone. He used ChatGPT and he got the story about the Prophet. I said, okay, good, perfect. Give me the phone, talk about the Prophet. And he said, I don't know anything about the Prophet. That's the problem. We need to know more about him. My suggestion, and now our homework as adults here, is try to learn something about the Prophet. 2, try to talk to your kids about the Prophet. Who is he? How old is he? What's the name of the kid? His kids. Very important. 3, try as, for example, to take one of our mothers every time now and then and talk about her with your kids, with yourself. Try to learn, right? 4, try to understand what the Prophet is doing. I'm doing that because I'm following the Prophet. Always keep the Prophet in your head. I'm saying this hadith because the Prophet said this hadith. I'm praying Sunnah now, and inshallah we pray Sunnah al-Isha because the Prophet said so. Always keep the Prophet in your head. So when we meet him, what are you going to tell him? I did this because I'm following your footsteps. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Uswa. Even when I made a mistake in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, even though I memorized it, still I heard many people responding because the Prophet asked us to do that. Even if the Imam doing a mistake, you still correct him. That's how beautiful if you keep on knowing the Prophet ﷺ. Our homework, learn more about the Prophet so that when you go to him, imagine, I love the Prophet, we will be with him in Jannah al-Firdaus. This is the best thing you can do. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا وَأَكْرَمَكُمُ اللَّهُ.